continuously tell my youth, at least in my precinct, I love to see them, but at that point, I want them to start exploring more things as far as like college, going to work. You know, it's nice for them to come back and volunteer because we do a lot of volunteer programs as far as cleaning up the community, graffiti, trash removal, food pantries. We gave out food on Thanksgiving. So it just depends on who your advisor is in the area that you have and what programs they're putting together to keep the youth active. Because it's not just about going into the program and saying, oh yeah, well, we're police officers, so when the youth come in, you have to be. No, you do not have to be. It's more about support for them so that they have another outlet. They just don't have their friends at school. They have people from the community that want to see the community rise and grow and beautify. Again, so that program is in each precinct. It's easier to go and deal with that program at your local precinct, but I know sometimes I have youth that come to our precinct. It's just a commute-wise in the evening, but we make it work. But each precinct has wonderful Explorer programs. They do. I see it posted. We do post a lot of things on social media pages so that, you know, individuals know what's going on in the community. So if anyone has any exploring concerns or joining the program, that is the program.
So I'll discuss some safety concerns that we have been seeing an increase in. We never ever get information over the phone, personal information. We've seen a lot of scams, especially with our elderly community, where they ask them for personal information over the phone, social security numbers. They say that it's from the IRS. The IRS will never ask you for your social security number over the phone. Most likely you will get correspondence in the mail. Most likely not a phone call. So anytime that you are asked for personal information over the phone, you never give it. Another thing that we've seen an increase in is our grand larcenies in auto theft. A lot of people are just running into a store, leaving their cars, running the keys in their ignition, and there's a huge increase in vehicle theft. So we ask that you just, even if it takes a few more minutes, who cares? Safety first, always, first and foremost, yes. For our young, beautiful generation, sometimes we're in a rush, they're rushing to and from school. Crossing the streets is not as simple as it was before because there's a lot of distractions. A lot of drivers are on their phones. A lot of drivers are not paying attention to the signs, and we see a lot more pedestrians. Right, and people, it's the holiday season. People are out partying. It's okay. It's good to party, but we have to be responsible. We've seen a lot of pedestrians being struck by vehicles. Unfortunately, a lot of the youth, now that the schools are back open, so we ask that you just, always look both ways. Take your time, get to and from places. Yes, you guys can be on your cell phones as you cross the street. You have little fancy AirPods that you're using to your music. All this is a distraction. So it's great to have these nice little gadgets, but we also have to think about our safety first.
Officer turn 360 degrees in a minute.
As far as,
let's say they stop somebody running or in the street. What can make one of you turn 360?
Turn 360 for good?
Yeah.
Turn 360 for something else?
Bad.
bad.
Good for bad. We wouldn't have people good bad.
Because we would have known.
Right. So you mean like, okay, so 1 minute you're saying you're chasing somebody, and then now the reasoning for stopping this person, I'm assuming, is gonna be because they're involved in something that
Yeah,
they
you
shouldn't
ask
have
him
been.
a question, you
Yes.
stop him, you ask him a question,
Uh-huh.
he answers you, and then you just,
And when you feel like, okay, so, you know, you can provoke the officer?
No.
It's like basically now, the person now is being arrested?
the behavior of the person, or an answer, you
Right.
know,
Well, we can only speak for ourselves. I would say that, I would tell you that I have been in situations where we don't know where it can go. We don't know who we're approaching. We don't know if this person may have a weapon. Maybe the radio run the call, they gave us a description that fits your description. Doesn't mean that that's you, but everybody handles things differently. So I try to get as much information as I can. Not always does that happen. It's not that easy at the moment, exactly. So the other person can react, and we may react towards that behavior. Not to say that it's going to go good or bad, but every situation is unique.
sometimes you ask the person for his license,
Okay,
but you want the
You want to
hands
know
to
why.
stay on the wheel.
yes,
But it has to go like this to give you the license.
yes.
Hey,
Well, yeah, so, as a tip, when you're being pulled over, right? If you can get it before, if anything, the officer is coming, and if not, that's fine too, because yes, we do want to see your hands on the wheel, because that's safety first, right? You can't do anything without your hands, right? So, we do like that, yes, I can see your hands, this is good, this is a safe situation. Yes, now the next step is to ask for your license, and your registration, and your insurance card. So with asking for those things, yes, you may have to go for them. Officer, I do have to reach in my right pocket for those documents. Okay, go ahead, no problem. That's how I address it. That's how, you know, a normal way should be. Okay, no problem, go in there, and I'm gonna watch you, whether it's dark or light. If it's dark outside, I'll have my light just flash to where you need to get your documents. I'll watch you, you'll get it, you'll give it to me, stay in the car, I'll be right back. Officer Milford? Did he demonstrate to you how he does it beforehand? You better behave yourself. Watch your
Yes, officer?
How you doing, man?
I was fine.
Nice to meet you, sir.
What are you stopping me for?
I'll tell you when I get your...
There's not all these officers. These cops don't know. They have no time. Don't you have to go to Dunkin'
Yeah, I told you, I'm good.
But are you using what you stopped me for?
I'll tell you when I'm done with you, yeah. Give me your license tonight.
My license is in my purse. Can I get it?
Go ahead, get it. What's your license for? What's your license for?
I'm supposed to be somewhere. You made me late.
So you're right. But man, right, I think I do different, right? So when I put a car over, the first thing I do, I stay in my car 5 seconds, just to see what they're gonna do, right? If they're moving, what kind of adjustment they're doing and stuff like that. So if I see moving, I can pop it up. Why is moving? Then you already know how many people in the car, who's moving, where they're reaching, stuff like that. Alright? When I come to the car, I ask you for like some registration. If you're nice, you know, I start getting uncomfortable. But once you start asking me questions, then it's like, why you haven't answered for? Like something is wrong. Alright? Then in a case like that, even though if I wasn't looking to my summons, I'm not gonna lie, she's gonna go like 4 or 5 summons. So, the point is, right, if you can pull over, all you gotta do is just
Quiet.
just a humble.
No attitude, no attitude.
Yes,
No attitude.
yeah, so, you know, when we come to the vehicle, we'll be approaching you on what happened. So say if you went through a stop sign. So I'm going to pull you over. Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. How are you? Do you have your documentation? You give me your documentation. Is there any reason today that you went through the stop sign? That's me. I'm asking you that. Is there any reason you have an emergency? Did something happen today that you went through the stop sign? You'll explain to me what happened. I have had somebody that told me, yes, officer, I'm sorry, I did. I'm rushing to the hospital. I have an infant that's there. And they showed me the previous calls from their other spouse or whatever the case may be. No problem, sir. Please drive safer because we don't want anything to happen to you on the way to getting to the hospital. And that's no problem. And that's called warn and admonish.
What is it called?
Warn and admonish.
Warn and admonish.
Yes, so I warn you and I admonish the fact that I'm not going to give you any type of summons. It's just a verbal, please slow down. I had to do that the other day. We were driving, this gentleman, he's driving, he goes over the line, goes around another car. So I pull up next to him, I catch up, boop. Sir, I didn't get out the car, I just pulled up next to him, I can see him because my vehicle was higher than his. Sir, why did you do that? And it's 12 o'clock and it was just a half day for the kids. And we always have kids running in the street and it's 7 o'clock, it just happens. Sir, why? Oh, he was a little high pitched. Sir, no, I'm not giving you a summons. I'm not telling you to get out of the car, and I didn't pull you over as if I was giving you any type of infraction. I just said, I would like for you to slow down. I'm trying to get out of this neighborhood. I said, I understand that, but if you hit somebody, you're not going to get out of it. You're now, you have to deal with us. So just please be safe in what you're doing. And then he came down, right? He was like, okay, officer, thank you so much. He apologized.
It's just a way of
It's
speaking
a way
to
of speaking to people. It's the dialogue. It's the demeanor. It's not, oh yeah, give me all your stuff. Because then that person doesn't want to deal with you either. And then it becomes an uproar.
Yeah, talking about the way we adjust the situation. And the thing that we can also see with black people that have attitude. So I think usually when people have attitude, when starting to one of our youngsters, because they do have attitude. So how do you adjust that if it's a younger person?
Yes, same thing. I'll say young lady or young man. I didn't speak to you like that, right? Am I yelling at you? I asked him, am I yelling at you? No. He said, okay, so let's bring it down and then let's talk about what happened. Because maybe it's something simple as addressing, maybe they're in the store and they're making too much of the store owner says, oh, it's too many kids, you're not after school. Everybody's going to get a snack and a soda. Oh, officer, I need all these kids to get out the store. So it's just a matter of, okay, young lady, young man, bring it down. We're not yelling at each other. This is a business owner, and he would like you to move, and you gotta go. So it's a matter, again, it's how you speak to people. It is. No one wants to be talking to you feel like this. So it's how you speak to another individual.
But I'm also trying to understand the diversity when you have black people, especially that I know, that they have attitude, especially our young people. I know they get enough ticket that they, it seems like police officers also target us because of more ticket than they do with the other. Yeah, so is it a problem?
Well, one thing you can keep in mind too, if we're working in a predominantly Black, African-American area, then most likely you're gonna have those individuals pulled over more than, others that are not in that area. So we have that area, like for instance, we work in East New York. So it's predominantly, depending on which area, because we have many different areas. We have an area that's like, what we call like Asian descent, like Indian, like kind of. So we have that Muslim community, yes. Further up north in our area. Then we have, yes, a predominantly African American, Black, and then we have a Spanish area too, Hispanic. So it's like, it depends on where in our precinct is very diverse. So it depends on where we are. But yes, in the area where you live, Where you patrol, you may have more, one culture that's there, that's, you know, who's there. But we're hoping that everybody can, you know, nowadays, think about safety first, because if you are not doing anything that pertains for you not to have any interaction with the police, then you wouldn't, you know, be pulled over. Now, don't get me wrong, I know sometimes there are instances where, you know, there is judgment and bias. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because it happens in every job, right? All over the world. So we're not gonna, you know, just needle in, but I get it. For me to answer for us at least, yes. In our areas, we have more predominant, you know, cultures of African American. Yes.
My question is, she said our kids have attitude. I think all kids have attitude, white or black, Chinese, kids or kids. How do the, what new skills have arrived to deflect confrontation as opposed to ignite confrontation? That's what I really want to know. Have you guys received new training how to diffuse situation as opposed to ignite a situation? Because nowadays everybody has a cell phone now. They want to videotape every event. That can also be frustrating and very difficult for police officers. What new skills have you arrived to deflect? Look at one of our kids smoking weed in the car. They're in the car. That's what they do in their neighborhood. How do we diffuse situation as opposed to arresting children and giving them permanent records?
Okay. Yes, so it's, again, going back to communication. So if you address, and if I'm going to you like, what are you doing? You know, you're gonna, most likely, you know, the way it is now, people are ready to yell back. You know, combative. Oh, so you know, we don't want that combative attitude or behavior. So you wouldn't give that to somebody, because you wouldn't want someone to speak to you like that. So yeah, something like that where, okay, fine, you're in a vehicle, and then now that brings it to different pieces of the law as well, and then your age as well, because, you know, now smoking is a little lesser of the, you know, dramatics of the world, but it's still at the point where it has been illegal, you know, illegal activity. So, oh yeah, of course.
So the detective here, he retired from the Internal Affairs Unit, so he can speak to you more direct as in regards to how he has dealt in his experience with officers that have been reprimanded in some way because of certain actions.
Hi. Yes. You guys have to realize that I will tell you a little more. Because I know the ladies, they have to, their tour is finishing in a moment. But I can stay a little longer with you. And I have a lot of great things to share with you as well. But bottom line is you have to understand, just like the officers, they are human beings. A lot of you forgot that they are human beings. Officer Timoshenko died. He pulled over a vehicle. As he was exiting the police car, got shot in the eye. You know? And he pulled the vehicle because of a defective brake light. So I have to keep that in mind. The police officers, they use their tactics for a reason. You know? Called brake light. He never saw it coming. Got shot in the eye. And the person shot him from inside the vehicle that he drove. I'm only giving you one example to see, to realize sometimes why officers are on edge sometimes. Because they don't know who they're stopping. They stop you for a defective brake light. They stop you for, you know, your headlights not working. But the driver is on probation. He said, I'm not going back to jail. I'll tell you a little more.
Yes.
My question is, have one of y'all ever experienced a civilian trying to impersonate as like a cop and like pulling people over?
That's a good question.
That's a great question. internal affairs is the equivalent of inspection générale dans la police en Haïti. We do have a section, a unit, a group that deals strictly with impersonation. They call it the impersonation group. Okay, because we receive a lot of complaints about cops just because of the shield. It could be a shield from a security guard, from a correction officer, from school safety, the federal unit, you know, but they all associated to NYPD. So our job is to sort it out and wait a minute, what's the color of the shield, what's the shape, and things like that. So yes, sir, we do have an impersonation unit. And again, ask a couple questions, but, well, if you don't have any question for me, it would be better for me because I'm sitting at last. But trust me, I have a lot of great things to share with you. So when you get a chance, you can free them because they have the end of tour. But I'll be here with you for much longer, and I promise I'm going to keep you on your toes. I have a lot to share with you.
We have food, we have food.
Yes. Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. My daughter is part of the Explorers in Suffolk County. So we just want to say thank you very much.
I have one question. There are a lot of times I heard people in our community, like on weekends, sometimes the police officers do not want to spend the rest of the time on the field. They normally plan to arrest somebody for anything very not meaningful, so they can get off the field. And it's, first of all, it's overtime for them, and second of all, if they don't want to stay out in the field for too long, so getting somebody arrested that time will kind of save them time, and a lot of times it's black and Hispanics that are target for any minor reason. I respect police officers, and I respect every one of you for doing a beautiful job. And you guys, you do protect our community. But these are some of the things that we hear, we want to hear from you, what you have to say about that.
So, yes.
Just before you go, guys, I would like to thank you on behalf of the church. And many times, young people think you are the enemies. You know, as pastors, we teach each and every one of them the same service I'm doing for God, you're doing it for God. You have to respond. Because can you imagine a society without the police officers? So that we want to let them know they don't need to be frightened. I understand when the police stop us, and that's happened to me too, the first thing they put their hand in the gun. And that's the reason, because you're protecting their lives also. So that I really hope we can continue to work together. Because
We need each other.
Yes.
The community needs police, needs the community.
Exactly.
It's the community, the eyes and the ears to us.
I know you are parents, you have children, like you said, many times they take an argument big. So we need to continue to work together because this is very important. We're doing the work of God. You are doing the work of God. And I pledge you, we're going to pray for you. And you need to take a look for this area because this is where we are. And we are praying for you for your family. God bless you.
Okay, so he is going to answer your question. It's not that we don't want to answer it, but he is a man of a lot of experience and knowledge. So we just want to say thank you. We are humbled to have been invited. We hope to come again sometime. And as far as the fear of when the police, your police approach you, it's very intimidating, even for us. I stop you, even if it's not a car stop, I can stop you on the street. Just maybe to say good morning. It's already defensive. Like, we already have that mentality, but it shouldn't be that. Feel like we're all individuals. We all approach things differently. We think differently, but we still wear a uniform, so we have to keep our composure. So my advice to you is compliance. That's all it is. And you know what? You have every right to complain about an officer as well.
Yes.
He's gonna elaborate on that too.
Yes, he is.
But with no further ado, thank you so much. We have to go back, unfortunately. Thank you for the goodies.
Yes.
We do appreciate all your prayers. We ask blessings for this whole community as well, on our behalf.
Yes.
So thank you.
Johnny, please leave your phone numbers and your contacts with us before you
Yes.
leave so we can stay in contact.
Yes, you got it, no problem. Yes, and it's okay to say hello. I say hello to everybody, she knows. I don't care. You cannot smile. Hi, how you doing? And then it makes somebody say, oh, hello. Because it doesn't, you don't have to pay to say hello, right? It's free. So it's okay.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a nice one.
You're gonna get a lot of difficult questions.
He's doing questions on the whole time, but he didn't actually.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ok, réaliser les deux trois mondes qui peut-être vont parler anglais. So, en premier lieu, parce que nous voulons jeunes impliqués, même gens avec vieux compagnons impliqués as well. Okay? Il y a un peu de mauvaises nouvelles pour nous, il y a deux trois bonnes nouvelles. Okay? Moi-même, c'est encore Daniel Lefebvre. Moi, c'est tout fait, pas les jeunes, mais pas vraiment jeune. Pour ma petit background de moi-même, je fais toutes les études pour Haïti. Je gradué high school Haïti, dans le séminaire collège commercial. Et monté pour ici. I was supposed to be a doctor. Je suis supposé être un docteur parce que mon papa me dit les mêmes gens ensemble. Daniel Lefebvre, il est le bon docteur. But unfortunately, monsieur mourit derrière un an. So lundi, maman me dit qu'il faut me remplacer monsieur. So when I came up here, I was in pre-med for 3 years. And then all of a sudden, I joined the military. The military a changé tout ça. So, maman me bloquer à 6 heures du matin pour me battre dans le militaire, mais unfortunately, je suis dans l'aller. Dans le militaire, j'étais supposé aller au Kosovo, aller Libéria, tout ça. Dans le même, mais chance pour moi, on est allé dans le mariage, j'ai vu 3 ans au monde, on est allé à Haïti, stationné à Haïti pour 3 ans. Pendant que je suis dans le militaire ici. Voilà, quand je suis stationné dans l'aéroport là. So from 96 to 99, I was stationed in Haiti. And then avec la police encore, après le militaire, je suis allé dans la police. De la police là, from 2010 to 2017, après le recrutement, then nous avons voté en Haïti. Et travaillé avec la police en Haïti. En pile expérience de part et d'autre. Now, nous sommes nous avons pile mauvaise nouvelle pour nous. Parce que avant, nous étions considérés élèves haïtiens comme the best. Voici, Frenchy, tout pareil. Pour nous, c'est l'inverse. Parce que le problème haïtien, il monte ici.
Okay? So we registered kids from Haiti getting arrested for gun charges. Less than 2 weeks in this country. Guys, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You need to pay attention to this. Very important. We have registered young men coming from Haiti, less than 2 weeks in this country, getting charged for gun possession. I'm going to tell you why. Gang is the most popular thing in our community right now. Majorité gang member in I don't see officially for this piano. Dans la police là, nous avons une culture, chaque beau est séparé en deux. Il y a beaucoup de north et beaucoup de south. With north, with south. Obviously, pas un volet haïtien dans Brooklyn Nord comparativement avec Brooklyn South, parce que Brooklyn South, nous avons Flatbush et Tennessee, bien Bessin, tout bagage ça, tout ces Bigwood, tout gens ça, Coney Island, c'est nous considérons comme Brooklyn Sud, ok? Et volume haïtien. Majorité gang qui est dans la zone ça, c'est haïtien. Majorité. Now, put it ça qui passe. They target young guys like you, young guys and girls like you. Parents, okay? Même gens, nous, qui ont perdu tout le monde en Haïti, ils ont perdu là tout. Why? Il y a deux raisons pour ça. Adultes, gang, ils comprennent que si jeunes, leur arrêté, ils allaient dans family court instead of criminal court for the most time, correct? Juvenile court, okay? So, yo ba yo kote zan nan. Yo ba yo al voler et crédit card tout pareil ça. Et puis yo utilise mesdames yo k'ap vendre dans store yo pour passer carte yo. So bien là yo prend un vieux gift card, yo des machines en dans la caillou, yo transforme gift card là en fake credit card. En tant qu'un il faut prêter attention avec le changement que nous avons fait avec les jeunes. Ok? Vous comprenez, nous avons fait un bad beurre, nous avons fait un tech, pas vrai? Nous avons fait 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Et il faut qu'il y ait une bonne ligne de communication ensemble. Puis, une fois, nous oublions de dire I love you, on dit I love you. Goes a long way. Le gars a 6 filles en taille, il y a même quand 2 filles en taille. Même quand j'aime dans les mots, ça, I love you. Dans la culture, nous ne pas dire vraiment. Pas vrai? Maintenant, okay? So nous aimons mais nous pas parler avec, pas dire I love you. You have cherché I love you elsewhere. No, not necessarily to get members of you I love you, mais you joignent attention que vous pas jouer dans le cas parce qu'on a fait 2 jobs, 3 jobs et pas fort non. Nous pas faire des sacrifices par un bel tennis, un bel jacket et le entrer dans le juste pour ça, mon tennis. Okay? Non, pour dire là, nous mettons tennis dans le cas et nous acheter, il faut ça attirer l'attention. Ok? Si vous avez un petit problème, fouillez caille, fouillez chambre, fouillez poche pantalon, et caille non, ok? This is mom's house. They are entitled to search your rooms, to search your belongings, and if there's something that they give it to you guys, they're entitled to question you guys. What do you find? Down the line, you're going to thank them. Okay? I think I'm going to pose une question. Je souhaite qu'on va y avoir une question. Now, okay. Vous fonctionnez avec la technologie à toi. Donc là, nous avons peut-être pas avoir la technologie. Toutes ces mauvaises nouvelles-là, mais la mauvaise nouvelle-là, il y a une bonne nouvelle tout. Mais il y a un petit gens dans la famille qui ont des têtes de droite, qui ont la technologie à tout, petit gens à supposer bons amis. C'est lui parler aider nous, checker le téléphone pour moi, pour ça qui est dans le téléphone, dans le computer et so on. Ok? Donc, petit gens dans la famille que nous qui doivent là, c'est les supposer bons amis. Parce que En termes de technologie, nous ne pouvons pas faire un caméra. Allez. Et c'est technologie qui poison pour eux. C'est là que je joins tout le bagage, je joins gang, je joins excusez-moi. Je joins gang, je joins un bagage critical, pornographique, comme ça, et ainsi de suite. Avec le système n'a pas aidé. Et après, nous parlons de sexe, bonheur. Nous parlons de critical, de bagage drogue. Donc, une drogue qui est très fréquente, c'est le fentanyl. Tuer comme ça. Le fentanyl, il y a un gros sucre rouge. Un petit grain de sucre rouge. Ok. Fentanyl. Dangerous. Can kill you just like that. Just the mere fact of touching it. The mere fact of touching that drugs. I mean, I'm looking at you, not necessarily, don't take it that I'm being personal. You're the closest young man that I have here. Okay? Fentanyl. Very, very dangerous. Maman, yo, avec papa, yo. Drogue, ça, le fait que vous même touché le même avec, il a bloqué le système. Il a cherché buzz. Okay, they lace it with marijuana. The cool thing is the vaping. You don't even all the time, vape. You know, they want to fit in. Okay, you're besoin à l'enjoy ça get on. There are a lot of bad things out there. A lot of bad things. The greatest thing that you guys can do is come to church. You can never go wrong with going to school and come to church. Okay? You will never see drugs here. You'll never see guns here. Stay in school, go to church. You can never go wrong with that. Now, fentanyl, encore, dans le même, parce que ça, tout pareil qui génère comme dans le là. Okay? Back then, marijuana, not so much a big deal nowadays, parce que you connais que policiers n'ont pas vraiment arrêté pour marijuana, parce que les policiers n'ont pas de l'aide du job. Tous les mêmes, c'est une meilleure job qui est dehors. Unfortunately, nous avons un paquet de belles moments dans la police que la police a traversé un moment noir, pour toutes les raisons que nous connaissons. Mais nous avons un work pour nous pas faire dans la communauté. Okay? Je suis président de l'association policière et nous avons à peu près presque 600 policiers haïtiens. Parce que ça vient de passer. Nous avons 47 ans qui ont retraité. Done. I don't have to work anymore if I don't have to. Listen to this, guys. I don't have to work anymore. I'm in my 40s. I don't have to work anymore. Why? Because I took the right path. Took the right path. Okay? I don't have to look over my shoulders when I'm working down the street. I don't have to work anymore. I cannot emphasize that. And if I were to go to Florida now, sit back, relax. I'm in my 40s. Okay? The gang routes will make you happy for that much time. My route will make me happy forever. Okay? So now, mesdames, you have mentionné ça. Stolen vehicles. The gang loves it now. Machine clear for it. Okay? They make the young guys and girls go and steal this vehicle. Qu'est-ce qu'ils fait avec machine clear for it? What they do with the stolen vehicles, nice. There's the new thing, smash and grab. Nous, là, c'est juste avec un tel sort, des marteaux crasés, dans tout ça, dans l'allée. We call it smash and grab. The games is very structured. You get one qui fait sentinelle pour you. Okay? They do recon.
They send, you might be part of the recon guys, go and see the store right there, the pattern of the store. Do they have security guards? Do they have police officers in front of them? Often the police officers drive by in that area. And yeah, we can target the store. And they have guys on scooters. The scooters go back and forth, you know, and then the crew go in there, smash, grab, run. They do a couple of smash and grab with the stolen vehicles, then they dump the vehicle. Okay, pour moi qui va comprendre l'anglais, ils ont ça qu'ils ont fait, ils ont relé ça smash and grab, ok? Suivre les nouvelles, c'est juste une affaire que une équipe monte entrer dans le store avec marteau, ils ont classé, et puis ils ont pris, ils ont couru, ok? Et puis bagage masse là, jouer en faveur on y a, parce que pas qu'à identifier. Et 2-3 derniers identifiés, s'ils sont anti-jeunes, et les juvenile court, slap on the wrist, bizarre. En pied de mauvais bagaille, tu vois. Ok. On va parler d'un exemple qui est arrivé en monde que tu connais. Qui vient dans le pays pour la première fois. Un jeune. Ok? Ma petite en créole, c'est parce qu'il n'est pas vraiment regardé le même jeune pour ici, mais c'est un misunderstanding qui vient dans la culture noire qui fait que ça arrive. Il fait un voyage dans le pays. Ok? Il vient là, il est chaud. Après, il vient avec la tête en bas, dans 6 mois, on va nous montrer nos prochains comme un visage que rien. Il va virer avec la tête en bas. Il y a les cousins. Et on a chiré, on pauvre, comme ça, et la jeunesse faneur, comme ça, va venir virer payer là-bas. Après quelques jours, il y a 2-3 amis qui viennent dans l'enfant, qui a fumé dans l'enfant. L'enfant fermé après 9h du soir, c'était un ami,
After dusk.
Ok. On le privé la nuit, l'enfant fermé, on va se poser dans l'enfant. Là, on est était dans l'enfant, mais il a fumé et tout. Et il y a un ticket que les 6 summons. Nous avons ça 6 summons. Ok, criminal court summons. So, criminal court summons, c'est une arrestation qui est supposée, mais au lieu pour appeler, mettez mon dans le système, surtout que si violation grave. Si vous avez en violation, il faut aller en cour. Il faut aller en cour. Let's say today is, what's today's date? 29. And then you get a, si vous voulez un ticket comme ça, en janvier, il faut aller en cour. Si vous dites 6 janvier, il faut aller en cour, 7 janvier, vous va présenter dans la veille, ou un mandat d'arrêt. Donc, les mêmes, ils vont ticket en arrêt Haïti. Ok? Pour y aller, il va virer la tête en bas. Prochaine fois la tournée, il faut passer là les Miami pour le 18 mai. Pendant le descend l'airport là, l'agent immigration met dans le computer après du feu. Non, si on passe par parler, tellement le computer après la mouille pour le feu. Première fois on vient dans le pays, le computer là-dedans, il y a la fumée, les noms entrés dans le computer. Côté prochain avion par Haïti. Ok? So, c'est un exemple que dans le pays, si vous ne faites pas respect, il n'y a pas de ici là. Ok? So, moi, je vais parler avec vous jusqu'à demain. Moi, je fais Internal Affairs pour 14 ans. Ok? 14 ans. Policier qui est communicateur, il y a des gens qui remettent les mains sur le monde. Les policiers qui remettent les mains sur le monde, en fait, là, ils n'ont pas fini la carrière. You can never go wrong being a good communicator. You're deflecting the situation. Moi-même, je toujours un bon parleur, un bon relateur. Ok? Et ça, on va aller plus de mais là, mais on ne va pas gagner un moment. Dans une seconde, on va gagner 30-40 policiers. Le temps on parlait, on vient avant d'adjoindre ou dans tourner la caille ou descendre de scène. Je comprends que t'es jeune, t'es pas dans le cinéma avec ménagement, mon avait dans la main, on fait sûr que t'es fait bien, là t'es arrêté. Mais il faut ce jeune policier, donc haïtien, nous pas un type de problème ça. Ok? Là, pour là, policier haïtien, il y a quelques problèmes avec sexe. Ok? Et dans la culture, nous avons des choses nous cachées, mais ils existent. Ok? Moins de temps pour nous pas de problème de drogue, nous pas de problème de DDT sur le monde, nous pas vraiment pas de problème avec l'alcool. Ok? Nous pas dans le cœur, mais nous pas de problème avec, mais nous des fois, nous ok? Nous connaissons, nous pouvons parler de ça dans la culture, mais il existe en pile dans la culture. Ok? Et dans le pays en Haïti, ce n'est pas parce que son bail nouveau, c'est parce que y a une caméra exposée, une communication exposée. Mais tout ceci, c'est pour nous dire que la majorité des policiers haïtiens ont bien passé. Nous entrons, nous passons. Et quelques rares exceptions, en pile fois, il y a pas de faute. Mais nous bien passé. Madame, pour répondre à une question là, oui, il y a des bagages qui ont été faites dans le temps. Nous connaissons son nouveau temps qui est. Oui, donc pile bagages noirs qui ont été faits. Est-ce que c'était dans le pays? Le pays était pas tout pour ça. Mais dans pile route pour faire toujours, mais dans pile la bagaille qui ont passé après, on va passer. Parce que travailler dans l'intérieur de l'office, nous n'avons pas un crime si gens à faire dans la rue que le policier va faire. Ok? Répétez, pas un crime que moi, si gens faire dans la rue que le policier va faire. Ben, robberies, larceny, même tuer. Ok? Moins tout. Mais, on a bougé dans la bonne direction. Là, on peut y aller, on peut parler de nous-mêmes qui pouvons aller. C'est ce qu'on fait là pour 10 ans? 9 ans. Dans 11 ans, on va gagner, you don't have military time, do you? No. Okay, dans 11 ans, you still part of the 20-year program? 20-year enough? 20 years? Yeah. Dans 11 ans, le cas va être. Ok? Donc, si nous ne pas quitter les jeunes impliqués dans la police, dans la place Venezuela. Ok? Parce que le petit fait rentrer, pas de volume haïtien, ça va pas de volume noir, ça va. Oh, sorry. After 11 years, you can retire. If we do not, because culturally speaking, with my Haitian people, they don't want us to join the police force. And it goes back to our history. Because back home, a police officer was regarded as an iron fist type of guy that has no compassion for people. It goes back to history, our culture, and everything else. So yeah, it's about put. So it's a different thing here. We need our community to get involved. Because what happened with George Floyd, more than likely, would not happen here. Because one of us would have said, no, you can't do that, right? So each state has their own culture when it comes to policing their community. But New York City, we've been doing a lot to serve the community much better. And we see it hands-on. Because when I first came on in 2001, comparing to now, I see a lot of improvement. We're not there yet. But comparing to some other states, we're doing much better. Now, if we do not get involved, if the young guys do not get involved, we will be working backwards. They have to get involved. They have to replace us. Okay? It is a great job. My mom is the proudest mom. Now, she's still a little mad because I'm not a doctor. I did not become a doctor, but she loves what I do. I serve the community well. I lived in the
East Flatbush area, even though I've been in Long Island for 8 years. But we serve the community well, especially with HALIFO now, the Haitian American Law Enforcement Fraternal Organization. Any kind of problem that you have, you can contact us. I've done this with churches, many churches, I cannot even count how many times I go and engage the community, the youngsters and things like that. So keep reaching out to us. For Milford, you know, we will always be there at your service. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
My only question is sometimes in the car, you have two police officers, a black and a white person. A white person might, in their neighborhood, they protect their neighborhood. But with the black officer, sometimes the black officer might be a little bit intimidating by being forceful with a black person, much more than it would be in the white neighborhood with a white officer. I don't know if my question, if it makes sense.
Well, like I said, now we living in a new era, the body cam era. Okay, the body camera. Officers know there are a lot of things that they cannot do, or else they're gonna lose their job. Okay. If not the body cam, you have cameras everywhere, telephones everywhere. Anybody can film you. So now, sometimes the problem is so deep. Now, here's what I meant by that. If you have a cop, whether Asian or Caucasian, never spend a day in Brooklyn or in Queens, in the Bronx. The house they are being raised, their parents constantly are telling them that blacks are savages. 21 years later, this young man or this young woman graduates the academy. And I have news for you. Your station is the 75th precinct, or the 73rd precinct, in the heart of Bed-Stuy. You have to understand what's going on into that person's mind. For 21 years or 18 years, their parents are telling them, we are savages. Now they are about to serve that community. It's not easy. That's why the academy, the police academy, is doing a very good job. But unfortunately, it's not enough to fix something like that in 6 months, in 3 months. You know? But in the academy, we have what they call cultural awareness. And each person will come forward and talk about a different culture. Because New York City is a melting pot with cultures, you know? But it is not easy. So you see different behaviors from different colors. Doesn't mean that because they're white or black. Some people are just deranged. You know, sometimes they do a good job of hiding it. But again, if I'm working with Milford, whether he's white or black or Asian, my job is to protect him in any way, shape, or form. If he's saying the wrong thing to the community, if it's just misunderstanding of the person's culture. Some people you cannot throw shoes at them. You see that in Iraq. That's one of the most disrespectful that you can do. When we have Labor Day, they put the Haitian officers up front because we understand that that gun is not fight, you know? So we get it, but it's not there yet, but we do a good job fixing it. Yes, sir.
My question is for all the young people, and you might be best to answer that question. There is an understanding that some of these kids have received records very young. Everything is a document that follows them. Our point is, as a police officer or as a detective, to say, you know what, I am not going to ruin that kid's future because of one incident. Because a lot of our kids already have records for the basic thing, like jumping the train, what do you call it when they're shoplifting? A lot of kids will go to the store and put something in their pocket. and that will follow them until they become adults. How important it is as a police officer to kind of say, you know what, this is something we need to handle within the community, as opposed to giving that kid a record that is permanently in their life. How important it is to work with the community.
Extremely important. As a matter of fact, the young men and women in the back, please give me 1 second of your life. 2 things that would send you more than likely to the wrong path in this system. Having children here and there, with this baby mama, this baby mama, this baby mama, and arrest record, criminal records. These 2 things will more than likely send you to the path of failure. Why? If you have 1 kid here or 1 kid here, my pension goes to my house. Straight up. Pays all the bills and allow me to travel and do all of the above. Now, picture if I had little Susie here, little Johnny here, and little Pierre here. 17% here, 17% here, 17% here. And by the time the little bit comes to my house, I have to find another job, 2 other jobs. I learned that on my own, thank God. You know, like I said, I was raised by 6 girls. I had no father figure in the house. But thank God, you know, back then in Haiti, everybody works on the straight path. And when I came up here, I quickly understand, in the system with child support and the arrest record, the criminal record, those are not good. Now, to go back to your question, yes, very extremely important, and I'm hoping Officer Milford and all the young officers out there keep doing the same situation. A white police officer taught me that early on. This is to show you that there's no such thing as sometimes white or black, depending on the nature and the education of these police officers. You know, we went to domestic violence, and he was a wild, young teenager, young girl, giving lips to mom and about to slap mom and everything like that. Now, one of the police officers wanted to arrest her for discount or whatever the case is. And the sergeant, who happened to be white, rejected it. He said, no, we cannot do that. It's giving the young girl an arrest record for nothing. You know, counseling and better communication more than sometimes solve the problem much better than putting cuffs in a young man or young woman's hands. So it's very important. We talk amongst ourselves the plan of action, because anytime we go to a house, especially on a domestic incident, we're trying to identify who's the aggressor. You know, sometimes the woman is the aggressor. You know, so we're afraid to talk about it. Sometimes the woman is the aggressor. So, and if the youngster is the aggressor, we're trying to talk to the parents, see what is it. Sometimes the kid is mentally challenged. You know, the kid is mentally challenged. Sometimes they just lost mom, they lost dad, and it's a bad thing, especially with our community not having the presence of daddy in the house. It is a big problem. Let me give you one quick story, real quick. In South Africa, there was a big problem in one of the park, the wild park, with elephants, destroying everything on their path. Every morning, it was drama. You know, they killed other animals, they're destroying everything, trees and everything. They realized that it was the alpha male died not too long ago, and the youngsters were going wild. So they had to go to another park, bring 2 alpha male to regulate the situation. You know, if it's happening amongst animals, us. So dad is here, you have to show your presence much more in the house. moms, before you kick dad out of the house just because, think about all the consequences, you know? Now, dads, just because you want to have fun somewhere, but the consequences could be deadly for you and for your young, beautiful kids out there, you know? So it goes both ways. So the presence of daddy in the house is very important. So this is why as soon as you have a child, I don't care what age you are, 18, 19, 20, well, that's it, you're an adult now, man up, you know? That's up, just take care of business. Because this little Johnny or little Susie now depends on you to do the right thing. Doing the right thing is not giving $10 a month. It's to be there for the child. Any other questions?
We have to definitely more power into government.
That's a good point.
Wait, very much so. I agree. And then, now with the young guys, your records will never go away. Never go away. Now, when I was coming to the work field, are you listening, young men and women back there? When I was entering the work field after college or after high school, a bachelor was big. Now, a bachelor is barely anything. You need a master to a minimum. Now, it's to compete with your fellow men and women entering the workforce as well. Now, my resume says I'm a veteran. I was with the U.S. Marine Corps for X amount of years. I was with the police force for 20 years. I have a bachelor. Now, I'm okay. Now, if your resume says that, okay, high school diploma or GED, you're not there yet. Because especially if you have an arrest record. A criminal record, you know what it does? They put your resume at the bottom of the pile. Okay? They will surf through all the other resume and pick the top ones before they get to you. So with that said, stay in school as much as you can. Do not take breaks. There's such thing as, I'm tired, let me take one semester off. Don't do that. Do not do that. Finish it. Time will go just like that. Finish it, then you don't have to worry about anything yet. Because once you have a kid, then it becomes 10 times more difficult. Just go to school and finish with it. That's it. Especially if you're lucky enough to stay under mom's and dad's roof. Just take care of it. Mom and dad. There's one thing that I see that was very important that you guys did not know about it. I'm talking about my dad's mom generation. Real estate and financial education. You'll have to educate your child about how to be well off down the line financially. You know? Don't think that, I don't need to buy a house, you know, let me lay that apartment and then they'll be all right. You know, I see the difference. If you leave a house for your kids, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. If you buy a little stock for them instead of buying an Air Jordan, it goes a long way. Because 20 years later, they'll be very thankful about it. Their credit score, you have to help them protect themselves. I was destroyed by a cousin with my credit. You know, he told me, oh, can you go sign a house for me? And never paid that house for 13 years. My credit was shot. Thank God I was able to restore it and rebuild it. Now I'm sitting well. Because that was the only incident. But please protect your kids financially. Okay? And if you don't understand it, ask around and they'll thank you later on and you'll put them in a much better situation when you prepare them. And trust me, you'll do good by them. Another question. Set?
One more. What is the requirement if the kids will be interested to become, to have a career in internal affairs? What is the requirement for that?
Well, you don't just have a career in internal affairs, you have a career in the police department. Okay? So, HALIFO. HALIFO is the Haitian American Law Enforcement Fraternal Organization. They have all the Haitian American police officers, not only police officers, correctional officers, immigration, Secret Service, ICE agents, again in Washington, D.C., and so on. A lot of experience. Okay, just I leave my number. You remember California? Yeah. So Alifo is there to help you. I know some of you might not have been aware of Alifo, but we've been there for since 1997. Okay, helping the community. Depuis le bagay ap Elohim happened. So Alifo is the front line to bridge the gap from the police force to the community, especially, like I said, back home, we have bad experience, the old generation with police officers. Thank you guys, it was a pleasure. Oh, one more question.
Officer, over there before they were talking about this program that they have for the youth. That's the Haitian,
The Explorer?
yes, but that's the Haitian organization that you have a program for our youth as well?
Well, for the Haitian officers, they are people like him in the precincts, you know? So let's say you have a child, I think they start around 12. Yeah, he's fine to that.
We just have like a special officers that's only deal with the kids. So let's say I'm going to get in from outside and do some crime or whatever. So I will call them first, and then they will go to the kid and do some kind of visit. I'm saying like trying to the kid and provide some more resources so they don't go outside anymore and do crime. So this way they don't have to go to the system. Because now we're trying to protect them from going to the system. You know, because it's just like if you don't bring them into the system, they're gonna stay there and they're gonna go up there and then they're gonna be like more powerful us in the future. I'm trying to keep them away from the system.
Even,
If you want an application, I will just bring you one if you're interested.
reach out to your fellow, not fellow, but to the Haitian officers. They'll help you with your kids. Even in Haiti, we have a program with explorers, and it's working fine. You know, those young men and women, they turn out to be great citizens. Once we have a chance to speak to you, then we almost can guarantee that the gangs cannot put their hands in you. So it's a very good thing. Again, thank you, parents. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Guys, we want to take the opportunity to thank Officer Johnny for putting this together. He's got to go to work at 3 o'clock. He made the sacrifice to be with us, and we want to thank Lefebvre, the detective, for coming in, and we want to thank the pastors for allowing this to happen. Those who have made food for this occasion. Before we leave, let us pray with our both officers. Officer Wood Milford, who's going to be in the street working for us. Let us stand, and we have some refreshments in the back. Before we eat, allons prier avec monsieur avant de déplacer. Puis mon Dieu capable de protect them. Pastor, would you mind leading the prayer for them?
Yes, nous remercions l'officier et nous sentons satisfaits de sa fête là. Et nous avons prié pour bon Dieu garder serviteur et nous connaissons Jean-Claude dit à l'heure, il a fait un travail sérieux, c'est le travail que Dieu a fait. D'après Romains 13. Et bien la Bible encourage nous en tant que chrétiens pour nous prier pour eux. Pour nous prier pour la famille. Parce que nous avons pile ennemis. Même si nous avons ennemis invisibles, nous avons plein d'ennemis qui entourent. Nous allons prier pour nous protéger, pour le travail que nous faire, pour le travail effectif pour la gloire. Prions le Seigneur. Éternel, Dieu Tout-Puissant, Papa, notre ciel, nous bénissons, nous louons, nous saluons, nous glorifions. Nous remercions pour l'opportunité de nous après-midi ça. Côté chercher au Dieu, nous sommes capables d'essayer ça. Merci au Dieu pour l'officier en mille fort, que vous-même, que vous mettez parmi nous-mêmes. Nous ne sommes pas capables de bénir si votre jeune garçon, ça. Nous sommes capables de bénir la famille. Nous sommes capables d'entourer, nous sommes capables de votre Dieu protéger. Nous lever si votre Dieu détective là-dedans. C'est votre Dieu qui prend le temps, chercher votre Dieu pour faire bon travail. Ça. Nous avons l'argent et l'or pour nous payer. Et nous-mêmes qui riches de toutes sortes de bénédictions. Avant nous avons la santé, nous avons la force. Nous avons votre Dieu intelligence pour le capable de continuer à faire travail. Ça, c'est votre Dieu et qui est capable de glorifier. Ainsi, c'est votre Dieu, deux jeunes filles qui étaient là avant eux. On va bénir la famille, cher Seigneur. Nous avons toute grâce à vous, et Jésus. À lui-même seul, on va avoir honneur au siècle des siècles. Amen.